This is episode number 101.
Ooh.
Sorry, guys, you missed the big one last week.
Who was on 100?
That would be Dave Mordahl.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a real
And
good.
that would be Isaac Whitty.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Couple powerhouses.
Damn right. So this is it. 101, NoLaughTrack podcast, Acme's official podcast. I'm Justin Severson, the host. With me today, a return guest from the very from 1 to 101.
Oh, was I in the very first episode?
Well, yeah, if you remember back,
I guess I
recorded one and we had audio problems. That was with Mary Mack.
Oh, yeah.
So then we had 1A.
I was on 1 and 1A.
Pat.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Uh-huh. So anyway, welcome back to Bryan Miller and Mike Luster. First timer, buddy.
First timer, new generation.
That's right.
Kicking off the 101. It's a little Lester Luster. It's my new thing.
Exactly. So it's,
No shortage of catchphrases for this guy.
when we send this out in a tweet, Mike, there's only so many hashtags we can put behind it.
Oh,
So
man. I'll think of some.
don't use too many catchphrases. We won't be able to get them all in there. only the gold ones. So, guys, thank you for showing up today, which is pretty much like top 5 nicest days we've had so far.
Hey, you saved me from
This
moving,
year.
so I'm happy.
Yeah.
My wife's lugging boxes upstairs while I'm at quote-unquote
Yeah.
work right now.
You saved me from being alone, so thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be with people in the afternoon.
Really, truth be told, that was the goal of this podcast, is so comedians from, you live in town, but it was so comedians from out of town aren't lonely during the day.
Ah.
I'm just here for companionship.
These mics aren't even plugged in, are they?
You're doing God's work.
No, we're on 101. No one's ever checked whether we're recording these or not. No guest, at least. So thank you, guys. Super nice weather out there, and we're in the basement recording a podcast. But we all have full bellies now from eating, so it's a good thing. You guys are here. But it's weird. It's also weird because I had talked to Bryan about recording one, is to do kind of like a kind of state of the comedy scene in Minnesota and young comics and how to, that type of thing. And then as it turns out, you end up getting, you're working anyway.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you were going to be a guest probably without even working, so it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, I just booked this week, last Thursday, I think. Wednesday or Thursday.
So the people who don't know, the headliner that you guys worked with last night is Nick Swartzen.
Yeah.
And then tonight, Wednesday, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sean Patton is in town.
Oh, what a
I will
good
not be
week.
here. I will not be here Friday, Saturday. I will be doing warm-up at Wits on Friday, and then I will be not doing anything on Saturday. This guy's going to be here the whole week, though.
All week.
You're the host with the most all
Double
week,
duty.
huh?
Yeah, Trevor Anderson's featuring Friday, Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Double duty. I'll be burying Trevor Anderson, just doing my job as the host.
Thanks for... I didn't even say, by the way, thank you to Circle of Heat, which I always need to say at the beginning because we play his music as our theme song.
Oh, I just assumed they got you high.
Am I missing out on that?
Apparently you are.
Hey, book Trevor for next week.
You'd have to have him bring his drummer, too.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe it's the drummer, I think.
Yeah. It's all of them. They're all token.
Right on.
All musicians do drugs, right?
It's not true, Mrs. Anderson.
What about
She's
comedians?
listening.
What about drug use and comedians, Mike Lester?
I don't know. It's subjective. Some of us do, some of us don't.
Subjective.
Some
Some of us have to take P-tests at Perkins every second.
Oh, I never do. That's why I took the job. I was like, wait, you don't care? Yep. This is my environment. This is my new dojo.
Is that where you... is that how you're paying the bills?
That's where I'm moonlighting.
You're moonlighting?
Saturday, Sundays, moonlighting.
Waiting tables? Or cooking?
No, I bus. I haven't earned waiting yet.
Bussing?
Yeah, I show up a little too marijuana symbol to be a waiter, I guess. Plus, I don't want to move up. I don't want more hours there.
There is something to be said for that. I've worked in the restaurant business when I was a young man, and yeah.
It's just too much for me. I want to commit time to comedy, and I don't want to have my weekdays monopolized by Perkins.
It was a good call, considering you're in comedy, to just book all your weekends up with the Perkins. Keep those essential Mondays and Tuesdays free for the big shows.
I'm doing those sweet Monday through Friday gigs.
Especially since as a busser, your income doesn't, like, there could be 100 people eating or one person.
Yeah.
And you're going to make the same amount of money.
It's Perkins. It's probably one.
Yeah.
They don't tip you.
They do tip you out
do?
as
Does
a
the
buster.
waitstaff take care of you?
Yeah, it's pretty
I
nice.
take it back then.
So you get 6 on, about $8 or $9 from each person. It's good. A little pocket money.
Damn right.
A little pocket money. A little gas money.
How was the show here last night, fellas? I wasn't here.
Excellent.
It was fun.
Nick Swartzen, man.
It was fun. Sold out.
very
Great
good.
crowd.
Oh, yeah. People were really enthusiastic. I think the tickets sold out in like an hour and a half or something.
Yeah, I had people hitting me up. Like I remember I was napping the day that the Swartzen tickets had the pre-sale. People were on the Acme, mailing list. They got the pre-sale announcement. And I was napping at the time, and by the time I woke up, I had 4 messages from people going, "Dude, I missed it. Can you please?" Like, I don't even bother asking.
Yeah, that's been funny.
Don't
People
even
are
bother.
still asking me for comps.
Me too.
It's like I posted on my Facebook, it's sold out. They're like, "But there are extras," and I'm like, "No, there are no extras. They're not like box seats or whatever you call."
Or like an arena. It's not a 30,000 corporate blocks held out or anything. Yeah, it's like, no.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they know how many tickets are sold.
How so the idea I want to give people the feeling of what's going on in the Minnesota comedy scene. Now I did there was an article I just saw, what was it, yesterday?
Yeah, and the Growler.
growlermag.com or whatever that is.
Yep.
Patrick Strait. Now I do know who he is. He did an article about it was you, Bryan and Andy and Cy and Steve Gillespie.
I think that, yeah.
Yeah. How long ago were you guys sitting around doing that?
Like a month ago?
Yeah.
Or nearabouts? Yeah.
But the person that wasn't included, and we can delve a little deeper into what's going on, was Mike Lester.
I was not included.
You were not included.
I am often not included in things.
And here you are today.
Here I am today. Included.
No more Mr. Lonely.
101.
No
Inclusion.
More Mr. Lonely. So both of you, just to everybody knows, both of you still live in town.
Yep.
Correct. Well, obviously, you're moving from one place to another.
Still in town.
Yeah.
9 blocks west.
Miller's moving on up.
I am kind of moving on up.
He's
we have a third
trading
floor.
up. You have a...
We have a second and third floor.
Oh. Mrs. gets a level, Miller gets a level.
Yeah, it'll devolve into that soon enough.
Yeah, one will soon be called the man cave.
No, I don't do that man cave business.
Oh, really?
No.
You have a man floor now.
I have a bit about that, but I'm not going to do the bit. But yeah, I don't know. I find the idea of a man hiding in the house that he owns like some sort of sad child. It reminds like you're reverting back to teenhood. We're like, I got to go hide in my thing.
What do you think's worse, basement or garage, as far as hiding man cave wise?
Depends on if the garage is heated and cooled. Depends on your temperature situation. But no, I watch football in the living room like a goddamn man.
Yeah. The garage
on the couch. Sunday, football is on the television. Actually, my wife likes football
You're like,
too.
deal with the wife.
See, that helps.
Deal with it.
Brian, you realize, Brian, that has a lot to do with that you don't have to escape, is because if you want to watch football, no one's going, football every what is it on every day?
Yeah, well, yeah, I decided to write the football joke, so I'm at work again on football. It's all, see? I can't move. I got to watch football.
That's a good excuse.
All this work.
It's for work.
It is for work.
I'm working.
Yeah,
I'm drinking and working.
I write football jokes for a podcast and a segment they do on Bob and Tom.
Really?
Yeah, for Kostaki Economopoulos.
Oh.
Yeah, I write those with him and one other guy.
Wait a minute. He gives you absolutely no credit whatsoever.
Oh yeah. He gives me a shout out.
Does he?
Oh yeah. And he gives me money. I like that.
Well then,
it's work. See?
Yeah.
See, it's work.
that is work then.
I think,
you do the quick hits thing with
Quick
him.
snaps, yeah.
Quick hits.
Yeah, so
Quick snaps.
Kostaki does the lion's share. We work on him.
Oh, no
we all
kidding.
work on there. Yeah, he's fantastic. It's great writing jokes.
Yeah. Oh, I had no idea.
He's been on the podcast 3 times, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, when he gets to when he was on, I was talking to him about going to. He went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And was hobnobbing and doing the media stuff.
That's
was
my
there
goal.
any chance you were gonna?
No. I mean, I would no. I mean, I guess if I don't think I could even get media credentials, even if I flew myself down. My goal is, though, if we can get the podcast to be big enough 4 years from now, Media Day in Minneapolis for the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
So I got it 4 years. I got to write some good football jokes.
Yeah. Well,
where will podcasting be in 4 years, though?
Podcasting will be more mainstream than it is now. That's
Yeah.
what it's going to be. Unfortunately. Don't get me started on that as someone who works in radio. Don't get me started on... That's for a whole nother show. Podcast is only going to be bigger, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If anything, they'll all have video or something by then, but it'll definitely exist.
I think people, there will be video. There already are video podcasts, but
more streaming probably.
I think there's an element though that people will always want just audio to some degree because I like just the audio. I like being on a plane in the airport. I mean, I like that in your head intimacy, no visual thing. Go for a run. Just got the thing on. I don't want to watch something all the time. Sometimes it's nice to just listen to something.
I agree. Speaking of, you just said headphones. We're taking a little road trip on the weekend, and my daughters, got to play the videos in the back seat so they don't drive us nuts. Headphones. I don't own some headphones for the girls. How are they so much more expensive now? When it seems like when I was young, headphones were like $5.
Yeah, it's because no one buys them anymore. Everyone buys those earbuds now, so it's like a specialty item.
Now the cheapest ones are like $20.
It's like you're trying to buy a harpsichord or something. You're basically paying an anachronism tax. But I don't like those earbuds. I feel like someone's shoving there. I feel like I'm getting a wet willy all the time when I wear those earbuds. I wear like over the head headphones. I look like I'm just jogging. I'm Rip Van Winkle and I've just jogged out of a different decade or something.
And then they have like those Dr. Dre ones that are like $200.
They cost like $12 a unit to buy. Gee, I wonder how he's a millionaire.
Yeah. No, you're a young man, but you must have some cool freaking headphones.
Yeah, I bought these. I have earbuds. I kind of prefer earbuds. I don't get the wet willy sensation like Bryan does. But I bought some $75 headphones. They're noise deafening, so when I put them in, I can't hear anyone, so it's good for like driving, so I don't really have to hear
tune out all those horns.
Yeah.
The screams of the children as they crumple beneath the fender.
Yeah.
Didn't hear a thing, officer. Not a thing.
I'm like, I hit that? I hit that car? Well, I didn't hear it. I felt it, but I didn't hear it.
You should start bussing at Joe Sensors. You'll move right up in that place.
I should wear earbuds when I bus. It'd be a lot easier. I don't get why I get asked questions. It's like I'm clearing your remnants.
Hey, do you ever eat food off the plates?
Yeah, all the time.
I would absolutely do that. But some people,
a lot of people, they'll like ask for to-go boxes and forget them.
Oh,
so I'll get like perfectly preserved food. I'm like, oh, this is a little gift. I'm getting so many little gifts today, and everyone's like, oh my god, Mike is just a derelict. But
I wouldn't do like a sandwich because they've been touching it. They've been
chicken tenders. That's what you got to go for.
Chicken tenders, French fries, anything that's like a single unit, an untouched pancake.
I don't do French fries.
Really?
Because people sweat on them.
What?
They sweat on them.
What are you talking?
Because they lean over. Salty? Listen, your Perkins regular, okay? They're going to be a little bigger, okay? And they're going to be leaning over, and you're either going to get the neck sweat or you're going to get the brow sweat. That's just a fact of life.
But you're not worried about other items of food having sweat land on them?
No, not really.
Because they'll sweat on the tenders.
Oh, they might.
It makes them more tender.
It'll make them saltier.
Yeah.
Get a little saltier.
Yeah, I would eat food off the plate.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you get asked this all the time, so I apologize. But is there a wishing well at your Perkins? Do those still exist?
No, we have the closest.
Does everyone just wish they were at a better restaurant?
Yeah.
Fuck, we're not at Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, you put your hand in there. It's a coupon for IHOP.
No, we have like a Give Kids the World box where you can donate change, and that's as close as you get to wishing at Perkins.
It's a make-a-wishing well.
Yeah. One time a guy stole that box.
Oh, snap.
He like ripped it off the counter and ran out.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty hilarious.
Scumbag.
So what do you say wishing well? Like they used to have like a little simulated wishing well?
Are you talking about that thing where you had the little platform so you can drop the coin on in the water?
No.
And you can win a muffin or
there was it looked like a wishing well, but it was there was obviously no well at the bottom, and there was no bucket. It was just open, and then little kids could walk up. It was probably like 3 feet tall, right at kids' eye level, and then you could stick your head in there, stick your arm in, and grab out a plastic sheriff badge.
Oh, you didn't put something in. You got something. It was like a gift.
Yes.
So you got like one shot at the.
It was a taking well.
Yes.
It was a taking well.
That is a taking well.
Yeah. Maybe like a tattoo, a temporary tattoo. Or
see, now you have to buy those.
Something.
No more giveaways.
You remember when the temporary tattoos, the whole thing was they were like, don't let your kids get temporary tattoos. It might be blotter acid. You remember that was like a big scare? Like, I remember I lived in the South, and so everyone in the South was like, everything is either the devil or secret drugs. Like, people in the South are convinced that like the drug dealers were just conspiring to put free drugs in all kid shit all the time just because they would think that's great. Like, it's like, oh, you don't eat blah, blah, blah. There's heroin in the yada, whatever. But yeah, so you weren't supposed to use temporary tattoos because that's how they get you, man. You put the blotter acid in, and I don't know what happens then. When you're a kid, everything's already weird. I don't even think tripping would be that big of a deal to a kid.
No, and then what is it to hook a kid in? So in 15 years,
and you also don't get addicted to. Yeah, exactly. Somebody I know actually has a bit about this. Come to think of it, I wish I could credit who it was. It's somebody who's really funny. Maybe it's Tom Simmons, but it's like, what are you going to, this kid going to get addicted to temporary tattoos? He's just going to be disappointed. He's like, this doesn't work like the first one. Somebody has a great bit about that.
This is bullshit.
I can't believe you never heard of it. Yeah, that was when I was a kid, that was like a big, I remember because I had a He-Man tattoo and my mom was like, oh no.
No, the other thing that pops in my head when I think of Perkins is those machines with the big stuffed animals, and then you see the videos
claw machines.
Yeah, and then you see the videos pop up on Live Leak or whatever, where the kid is stuck in there, and the families are walking by, and the kid, is like had crawled into the opening.
What?
You've never seen these videos? There's several of them.
I've never seen the videos. No.
Yeah, the big crane machine with the stuffed animals.
Yeah.
Well, a kid is there by himself. Loses his quarter, then just like can fit into that door, climbs into it, but then the door only goes like you can push it open, but not push it from the inside.
Like a no-kill trap.
Yeah, exactly. No-kill stuffed animal crane. And the kid
that is almost like a kid trap too.
It is
just
totally.
A big glass box full of toys.
It'd be funny if the only way to get him out, you got to bring in the best crane man around. Like, we've only got 1 hour. Get McCracken. He's got to get on this crane. Right. This kid could die in there. There's no oxygen. I think we just wrote a screenplay right there.
There you go.
We call in the wolf. Wolf's here.
yeah, right. He's wearing a glove on his crane operating hand. He's going to take that leather glove off.
He's got the tattoo, the crane tattoo. That's like dropping down on this stuffed
animal. He does
animal.
the crane like Ralph Macchio before he does it to get in the thing. Yeah.
Well, if he does the crane and then works the joystick with his foot while doing the crane.
Ooh, double crane action.
Oh,
hot crane on crane action.
Crane squared.
Like you said, should go with script. Put the script together.
Someone write this down. Someone in Podcastville, write this down.
So you're working at Perkins, Mike. What are you still working at doing the writing?
Yeah, I do writing. I always want to do that though. That's like fun.
Yeah.
Write football jokes, I write movie reviews.
You're still doing the movie reviews?
Short stories and, essays and all kinds of shit.
Where do your short stories appear?
Nowhere yet.
Nowhere yet?
Yeah, working on it.
You're saving them?
No, just working on it.
You just getting a portfolio together?
That's what I was an English major. I wanted to be like a writer. That's what I was like. I wasn't going to do this. And I got kind of sidetracked, and so I'm kind of trying to start picking that back up.
Oh, okay.
Now that I've got a little more free time.
Yeah.
But, I want to do... You can do both. It's great. Yeah. It's like a daytime thing, and
It's good to build a portfolio. I
Absolutely.
mean, for when you are ready and you have someone see you that wants to see what you do, it's like, boom, now you got all this stuff.
So, Bryan, you've been doing comedy longer?
Not a whole lot longer, though. I think I've been in comedy 6 years.
I'm going on 5.
Yeah, because you were
4.5.
I definitely had been around because Corner Bar was reopened by the time you started. Because when I first met you was that night at Corner Bar where your mom heckled, and then I yelled at your mom, and then your mom heckled you.
What happened? Slow down. Let's hear this.
That's how I met Lester. It was hilarious.
That's what I was going to ask. How did you guys meet?
I liked him right away.
Yeah. Well, the first time Miller and I really met, my niece had been born. So my mom was super sleep deprived, and she wanted to come to the comedy show anyway. So she comes down, and she had like 5 Chardonnays, and she just got a little lippy.
I mean, she was having a great time, and it was
at everyone's expense. It was really bad. So I kind of had to shut her down and be ruthless. And they're like, "Wow, this kid's just tearing into his mom. This is awesome." And that's
he got instant respect. The best part was
on stage. You were doing this?
Oh yeah.
His mom was
I was pissed.
His mom was heckling the first couple of comics, and
she heckled Gabe Noah.
Yeah, and Gabe, because Gabe zinged her, and then I went up, and so I really laid into her, and I remember like, I hope this kid doesn't take it too bad. But you're in the back laughing. I was like, all right, this is good.
Oh,
and so
man,
we were all like, well, she's gonna focus when her kid goes up, right? And then Lester goes up, and she turned it up to 11. Man, she was ripping into Lester. Man.
That's not even the worst time. One time, at Willie's in Coon Rapids on Easter Sunday, my mom came out to the show, got drunk, walks through the show like in front of the MC twice. At one point, she ate a bunch of this comic's tater tots like out of nowhere. She was just munching on those tater tots.
So funny.
And then she fell back. Like she tried to stand up and she fell back, hit her head on this chair. And then I had to watch my own mom get bounced out of a bar in Coon Rapids on Easter Sundays. And she had one sandal on at this point, so she's wandering the parking lot with one sandal on. And the guy's like, do you want to go up soon? I'm like, well, yeah, my mom's going to like wander out into traffic or something. Like, she is out of sorts.
That's a hard bar to get kicked out of, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Did you arrive there together?
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
She used to have to come with him because when he started, he was like 18 or
I was 17.
17, yeah. So we that was the only way he could get into a lot of these places. Actually, your dad was with you most of the time.
My dad was with me most of the time, and then she wanted to come a few times, but after the 2 times when it was
yeah, because your dad looks
anarchy.
like a friendlier George R.R. Martin.
Yeah.
He looks like a happier, friendlier George R.R. Martin. His dad's a treat.
My dad's a very nice dude.
He's super. Well, your mom's nice too. I like your mom.
My mom is also a nice dude.
But your dad's not. Your dad's just like all friendly, and your mom's kind of a kook. But I dig your mom.
Even
though I had to be really mean to her the first time I met her.
I can gladly say both my parents are sober now, though.
Oh,
they're like 3 years of sobriety each, and now it's their turn to take care of this train wreck.
Lester instant respect because first off, he was cool with everyone. I don't know people, but when he zinged his mom back and the whole thing, people were just like, "This kid's got balls." It was like no one's seen him before, and it was
because I did for like 6 minutes. I was like, "Okay, this is gonna be my set now." I'm just gonna tear
it was funny.
into
We were like, "This is legitimately funny." Usually, it takes people 6 months to pay attention to somebody new, but it was like, "Oh, I know who that kid is."
That night wrapped up too with my mom had bought flowers that night because those guys used to come through Corner Bar with the flowers.
Yeah.
And she left her flowers, so my mom's just bawling in the car, drunk, screaming, "Where are my flowers?
Sounds like
Go get my flowers!"
It sounds like True Detective season 2.
Oh, God. Those flowers died.
Alone at the bar?
No, we went and got them, but she was still in her heyday of partying, so she didn't ever really water them. And I didn't either because
that explains why Lester's so skinny.
They're just
he didn't get watered. He didn't get watered for most of 1998 to 2002.
I eat at Perkins.
I'm just going to start coming to Perkins and eating shit off the plates that you don't want. I'm going to go have dinner with you.
I save it in a little corner.
like some sort of animal ferreting away, like a squirrel with just things like French fries and chicken tenders.
Don't worry, I got fries somewhere.
Picture you just crouched down in the corner.
I have a tail for some reason.
Yeah, just for that. Yeah.
I got a tail holding the chicken tender, like feeding it to him.
Yeah, if he starts growing a pouch to hold things in.
So this is some sort of Cronenbergian horror movie or something.
It's like the human centipede, except I get a pouch sewn onto me instead of.
So how did you 17? How did you start doing comedy at 17? What went wrong?
What went wrong? I don't know. I didn't really fit in middle school, and the only time anyone ever kind of gravitated towards me was when I'd start goofing off in class and stuff. And I've always been a fan of comedy. And then I came here one Monday and saw a bunch of really talented people do it, and I was like, yeah, I got to do this. This is so close to home. So I just dove in and never looked back.
And you were dedicated. I mean,
it's hard.
He didn't do comedy once and then come back again 3 months later and do it again, and kind of ease into it. It was like,
no, I was like
seeing him everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty rare.
Yeah. Well, most of the people who succeed, in my limited experience, for the most part, I mean, everybody toes the water a little bit, but you can tell when the people, you're like, man, you're showing up 3, 4, 5 mics a week.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, good.
So how often, when you first started, Mike, how often were you going to
it was like 4 to 5 a week.
It
like
was?
My first couple of years, I go everywhere. I go to Station 4, their old open mic. I do all those weird bar open mics. The only one I really didn't do was Grumpy's, because there was like a scheduling thing where I couldn't really get to there.
And how many do you think you do now? 4, almost 5
I try to do 3 to 4 a week when I'm not gigging. Yeah. When I'm not gigging, I want to get in at least 3.
Yeah, I find it less than 3 and I feel rusty.
I feel shitty. I do
less than 3, I'm just like, I just don't. I feel weird. I just when I was gone to my niece's wedding, I didn't do shows for 8 days.
Yeah,
and I realized I don't think I've gone 8 days without doing comedy since probably the first time I did comedy.
Really?
And so it was just like this.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't know.
Man.
It's just like I was like being mean, and I was like, I just need to go be mean to strangers, or I'm going to be mean to my wife.
How much, like, if we looked at your calendar right now, Bryan, how much would you have booked for the rest of the year?
I'm booked pretty solid through the end of August, and then after that, it's like a week or two a month through probably November. I've still got weeks open, but I book about 3. Usually, it seems like 3 months out is kind of the main. I don't worry any longer than that.
How far are you traveling these days?
Portland, Houston, Milwaukee. Milwaukee. I don't know why I say Milwaukee. That's not very.
That road warrior.
I'm doing all
traveling to Milwaukee. Huh?
Yeah. But anyway, I'm headlining the Joke Joint in Houston at the end of July. I just got back from Portland and Chicago. Yeah, fair amount.
You know what's crazy? I got offered that a week at the end of July in Houston. So we could have taken our tour to Texas.
We should have done that if I'd have known.
We worked together a lot.
Lester and I inadvertently have become like a traveling comedy duo. Or I guess not really a traveling comedy duo, but we've done 5 weeks here together probably?
Oh, probably more than that at this point.
We did that week at the Tangerine Room together. Mm-hmm. We're doing a week together next week.
Yep, next week.
Where's next week?
The mall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll both be there.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
it's pretty weird.
Well, actually, today I told my wife. I said, "I go, hey, who do you think I'm working with? Who's middling next week at House of Comedy?" And she goes, "Not Lester, right?" I was like, "Yeah." But that's what's gonna be weird next week is that we're gonna be switching it. So
that's right.
He's gonna be doing 15 in the middle, and I'm doing 30 up top, basically.
Role reversal.
Uh-oh.
Role reversal.
Hey, I'm gonna be. I just hope you let me open for you in a couple of years. You laugh like I joke.
Do some of his jokes too.
Oh, I know. I know a ton of Lester's jokes.
Oh, please. Oh, man,
and I set
know
a trap
so many.
for my friend Kip Sung. I can do. I'm sure you could do. I've worked with you plenty. I know a lot of your jokes.
World's saddest petting zoo.
One time, one of the most hilarious,
an extra murder.
One of my favorite pranks ever was one time Nate Abshire and Cy Amundsen stood right behind the curtain while I was up here, and it was a really full show. It was like 250 people. And they just whispered my punchlines right before I said them for like 5 minutes.
No.
It's really weird how much that throws you off. But they would just whisper it exactly like, oh, God, I don't know what it was, but it had me in a weird space for a while.
You're in that rhythm, man. It's so easy to
It was
get thrown
very
off.
funny. And I was going to turn around and be like, shut up.
That's so funny.
Did you have any idea what you were gonna? What did you base? How did you come up with comedy when you were 17?
I
what were you joking
to say.
about?
I had nothing to say. Just mostly masturbation, and I did some current event stuff, and then, eventually you do it long enough. I'd say you realize what's important to say, what you should be saying and talking about. So now I keep it more personal and. I keep it mainly personal now. I don't do many pop culture jokes anymore.
Now that is, as someone who's never attempted to do stand up, strictly a fan, and but I often hear that, like when comedians talk about, what you really need to do is get your voice, and your voice is what people can see that it's personal to you, and it's not. So
Yeah, I had nothing to say my first couple of years. You
were so young. I mean, talk about homework.
Yeah, at that age, you have nothing to say. I mean, I talked about angst and dating, but
you did what I think most guys, especially I don't know what it is, but using young white guys, I did the same thing. For the first 6 months, you're kind of shock focused because you're just like, oh man, I can get a huge reaction. It's like, I think when you first get the mic, there's that temptation. You just gotta gotta vent all this stuff, and then after a while, you go, okay, well, I could keep doing that, but you kind of get the.
Yeah, then you start realizing it's like, well, this is, it's getting laughs, but what's going to get me booked? Like, you want to be clean enough and unique enough to where you can get booked anywhere.
I think you just write it out of your system a little bit, too. You're like, okay, I've written a bunch of jerking off jokes. I guess I'll write about going to the bank. And you go, hey, you know what? I kind of like this going to the bank joke better or something. Yeah. I certainly, the first 6 months, I was filthy.
Yeah, it's tough. I think a lot of comics start off that way no matter what. Yeah, no matter what. I mean, you're just going for laughs.
Do you remember people, like not Bryan specifically, but people that were around already, maybe giving you advice, or were people? Is it a welcoming?
People were very nice once they see that you're committed and you're going to come back around. Like the first couple months, no, because you got to see, is this kid going to come back, or is he going to, come once a week, or is he only going to try to get on at Acme? But once people saw I was committed and that I wanted to go anywhere, just get stage time and get better, they started giving me good advice.
Yeah. The exact same thing when I started, the year before. I think I would like to think it's the same way now.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's fair too, because why waste your wisdom on someone who's going to quit in a month?
Yeah.
Just wait it out, see if they can survive the deep end.
And also, I've told this to new people before. Someone's like, "Oh, did you watch my set?" And I'm like, "Oh no,"
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's not because I'm trying to be a jerk. It's that the first 2 or 3 months, you're not doing what you're going to be doing. Probably.
No.
You're going to be really, really different. And sometimes I've had an experience where I'll think of a guy a certain way, and I'll realize, oh, he's not that way at all. I just saw him 3 times when he first started, and then I go, ugh, I'm done with this. It's like you're just not going to sound like that. So let him, like I said, get it out of your system. It'll be 6 months before you even start sounding.
What percentage of people that let's say you don't recognize them from anyone else? Maybe it's the first time that they've shown up for an open mic. Mm-hmm. How often does someone like that come up to you, someone like you or Harmston or something like that, be like, hey, so like what you said, did you watch my set? Do you guys have any advice?
Not as much the watch my set thing, but I mean that happens every now and then. But probably every Monday somebody asks for advice. A lot of comedy fans are people who would have at least an impulse to try comedy. Mm-hmm. Maybe they don't want to be a traveling comic, but I think a lot of people, but they like it and they fancy themselves. I certainly was the same way.
It comes up a lot in conversation.
Yeah.
Have you ever fed anybody a line of BS just to
no
blow them off?
No, I don't think so. I mean, because if you really want to, you can really blow somebody off and give them the best possible advice in one sentence, which is we'll just keep doing it a lot and don't stop doing it.
Right, get on stage.
Did anyone give you guys bad advice?
Oh yeah.
Give me some examples.
Oh man, I probably got the best one. So my first real paid gig, I guess you could call it a real paid gig, was I hosted at Rum Runners in St. Cloud.
I remember Rum Runners.
Do you remember Perrin?
Yeah, I remember Perrin.
Perrin told me to quit. He's like, this isn't for you.
What?
It's a lonely lifestyle.
You were funnier than Perrin when I saw you the first time.
Exactly. It was insane, and that kind of stuck with me for a while, but then I thought, what is Perrin doing? Let's see, he's making fake James Bond movies, and he does the same 10 every weekend at the same place. So once I realized that he was not the person to really take advice from,
I guess not.
I let go of that. But that was weird, just having him you should probably quit. I mean, you're not going to make any money. I know. And then the guy that used to run a mini haha that is now Dangerfields told me I was too blue to ever work anywhere. Which back then I was, but you gotta give me time to evolve and work at it and write better material.
You're never gonna throw a curveball, kid. Give it up.
You'll never be a server here, kid.
Well, I like it.
Grab those plates.
You think you can bust with the best of them?
You think you can bust with chicken tenders in your mouth? Get your head on straight.
And get that kid out of the fucking machine before he dies. I always think
here's
it's
your
funny.
own quarters, by the way.
Yeah, I always think it's funny when people like I said, the guy who ran Dangerfields or whatever. He's a restaurant manager. He doesn't know anything about. I mean, if the
can we
manager
cuss
here at
on
Acme,
this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
the managers here at Acme, first off, they don't give you unsolicited advice, but if they did, it would be good advice because they work at a professional comedy club and they've seen a ton of great comics. Mm-hmm. The Dangerfields guy has had an open mic in his basement for a week and a half, and he's like, "Let me tell you how to get into showbiz, kid." It's like, you have no idea.
And his
what are you
gimmick
talking
is
about?
the pilot comic. Remember that?
Oh, Ornstein told you that?
Yeah.
That was Ornstein?
Yeah, it was Ornstein.
That guy was such a twat.
Ugh, man.
I always hate it when somebody is the blank comic.
I know.
When like they just drop in a profession or whatever. It's like, why don't you just be the comic?
Yeah. Be the Brian Miller comic.
So I'm open for the construction worker of comedy. He's building laughs on stage or whatever. And it always fucking sucks.
Have you heard of the disgruntled clown?
No, I've seen the disgruntled
I've
clown.
worked with him.
What is this?
I got to open for him. He's a crazy clown that kind of dresses like a member from Kiss. That's I think he can't work in the southern states anymore because of his drug problem, and he is the biggest, most hilarious train wreck I've ever seen. He brings his own props. He brings these gigantic wooden blocks with him to the show, and he brings this huge teddy bear that he never touches. And he's like, "Don't touch my bear." That's what he kept telling me. I was like, is he telling me this to be funny, or is he broken? Like I assume he is, because I assume he's mentally broken.
Do you think he became the disgruntled clown because that was sort of his like real life persona, or do you think it was a character that the life eventually
here's
took him
my
forward?
here's my theory. The state took his kids away, so he had a lot of extra free time, so he became a clown with his MySpace URL on the back of his truck still.
Oh,
You're telling me there's a lot of little tiny mimes in foster homes all over the South?
They're little mini disgruntled clowns. Fatherless clowns.
He hasn't changed his kid's grease paint in 4 days. What kind of father are you?
He can't even juggle yet.
it's dripping everywhere. Oh my god! Have you guys ever thought that there are too many comedians?
Oh yeah, right now there are too many comedians. I don't mean in Minneapolis. I mean in the country. There are too many comedians. Supply and demand is all out of whack.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, just there's a lot of people who want to get into it and feel like, and they can get into it, because of the internet and podcasting. People can listen, kind of get to learn how to do it. Mm-hmm. And I say that. I guess if I was, I'd have to have been around 10 years ago to know, or a little more time. But yeah, it just does seem like the supply and demand is definitely out of whack.
Are you counting like open micers too?
Yeah,
just
kind of.
everyone, the whole spectrum? Because I don't get too worried about that because
I don't get worried about it. I just mean, just in terms of, it's just out of whack. And it is also why a lot of gigs don't pay better, is because there's so many people who are okay, who are willing to do it because they just want to do it, that you'll get a gig that's like a terrible, hey, drive 9 hours for $100, no hotel, and you'd go like, no. And so what they do, they'll find somebody to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would either have to cancel the gig or give you a hotel and $150 or still not a great deal, but whatever, I mean, it keeps the. It does keep the money down. Now, this is at lower level gigs. I mean, it's not like it doesn't really affect it. A really big good club. It's just going to be however many good comics there are. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It makes getting out of town gigs tougher too, because there's always a local community now. Anywhere you want to go with a good club, they're like, well, we'll just hire a local feature and we don't have to give him a hotel and we can pay him less.
And we say that as guys who are the local feature and MC at clubs. Right. I mean, it's the same. I mean, we're part of that problem, I guess, as anything. But I mean, I don't think there's too many really great comics, but I do think there's a lot of comics.
Yeah. No, I will say that when I thought of asking that, what I did kind of have in mind, like showing up for an open mic and like, who the fuck are all these people? Like,
but it's also cool too. I mean, not all these people want to be full-time comics. And I don't know. It's good that there's that interest.
Yeah. How often do you think people show up and then never do it again? Do it once.
Oh, a lot.
So many times.
Oh yeah, I bet. I mean, Derek could tell you probably, because they keep track of who puts the stars by the name. I'm sure they don't run the numbers, but if he went back and looked and see how many people have been just up once, it's even just here. I bet it's at least 10 a month.
Probably, and a lot of times they'll show up their first time and they'll get on, and then they show up the second time and they don't get on. And they're like, well, screw this. Why should I waste my time doing this? And then they'll just never show up again.
Yeah. You got to be persistent.
I think some people just want to try it once too. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who try it, and there's not like they're like, maybe I'll do this for a living. I think they're like, I want to try it, and that's cool. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah,
I respect that. It's fine.
I've always been a little baffled by hobby comics who kind of do comedy sometimes, and they're like, they feature or even headline, and I just like. I don't know. It is fun, but like, it seems like a really hard thing to do half speed.
Now, when you say hobby comic, I don't know exactly what you mean, to be honest.
They like build model airplanes on stage.
Well, then I'm totally into
that. They knit stuff.
A lot of Pinterest jokes. A lot of Pinterest jokes.
Well, that sounds awesome, then. I'm in. What that translates in my head is someone who always does the same material.
I mean,
that's a problem too.
No, but is that accurate? We can talk about that. But
a hobby comic probably would, for the kind of do that, but not necessarily. I mean, the hobby comic would just be a guy who doesn't really. They just do it for fun. They like to hang out with other comedians, and they like the vibe, the social thing, and so they do that. They don't really ever intend to try to get work, and so they're not, they're just out there to have fun.
Yeah.
And but to me, I get it because it is fun, but I also don't get it because, like I said, I feel like comedy for me to do it half speed would just be unpleasant.
I only got one gear with comedy now. It's like you get passionate enough about it, you can't half-ass it. Like what you said earlier, it's like if you do less than 3 mics in 1 week when you're not working, you feel rusty. It's like you got to keep doing it. You're just in. you're just in it. Like once you're in it, you either get out of it completely, or you get a little lazy and then you feel weird, and it's just you have to go full tilt, I think.
Also, you're probably not going to get a whole lot better as a hobby comic. I mean,
No.
just because you're not doing it as much.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where, like, well, the thought of the fact that, like, okay, hopefully you just keep getting better, and your worst days are always behind you, and yeah, that's kind of part of what keeps you going. But it's like, I feel like if you were just a guy who did it every now and then, you're like, oh, this is what it's going to be like. This is it. This is my level.
Now let's talk about people doing the same material all the time. How, for both of you, how comfortable are you with, like, do you have a, like, I can't tell this joke one more time.
Well, I was just complaining to Lester last
We were
night
complaining
about half of my act.
yesterday. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I see open mics are there for new material, in my opinion.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you gotta do. For me, I try to do at least 3 new things when I do an open mic, and maybe throw in, like a closer or something. So
yeah,
it's not a complete train wreck, but you gotta. I mean, you gotta bang it out. Like that's the only way you get better. I used to be really afraid of trying new stuff, but I think that's just one of the first of many hurdles you got to get over as a new comic.
Yeah.
It's more fun. I mean,
it is
would
great,
you go up
man.
to an open mic and do like your regular 5? It would, like your opening 5. It would just be boring.
Yeah, and
Why am I doing
it's so rewarding too. Like when you take that brand new thing and you try it on stage and you riff with it a little and it works, and it's like, wow, this is getting a good response. And
so like, I don't know why Nate Abshire doesn't do it more. Because it's so fun. I gotta make sure I'm working.
All these
I gotta
guys,
burn
Nate Abshire, Earl Elliott.
I gotta burn Nate Abshire everywhere. Everything.
That's nice. Someday he hasn't been on the show yet. Someday he'll get his opportunity.
Wow,
A lot of bookers have said that to him.
I like how you just have a set list of Nate Abshire burns ready.
I honestly think I would be a much more successful comedian if everyone knew Nate Abshire and I could do 5 on him every night. I honestly think I could get that 5 on TV. It's really my niche, is just making fun of Nate.
Make him famous, then you can be. Right?
Oh, I'm never going to be famous then.
It's just.
Speaking of that, are you guys watching your friends on Last Comic Standing this season?
Speak of the devil, old Abshire should be on there in a week or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. My pal Emily Galati, who's one of my favorite people on the whole planet, she moved on to the semis.
I fucking loved your tweet to her about she's getting out because she was fantastic.
The hate mail she got from the Arizona thing about building the fence around the tweeters or whatever.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
I couldn't believe. Well, I'm not surprised, but she was delighted that people were mad.
Really?
Oh yeah, I mean dude, you have arrived when people hate tweet you, hate mail. I mean, it's not like she got a lot of it, but like it's like X number of million people watched, and
she's getting a reaction. It's good.
Great. It's perfect.
People are going out of their way to insult you. That's the best feeling in the world to me.
The best part, actually, somebody said somebody called her like a loser or whatever in their tweet. They're all mad, and so she tweeted back. She's like, "Say what you want, say loser all you want, but I'm doing a paid show right now, and you're home tweeting hate mail to strangers."
Yes.
And then he tweets back, "Fair point."
Ah!
Like, all right.
He replied?
Yeah, I like that he acknowledged that she totally won that one.
She's earning respect from the Twitterverse.
Yeah, she did great.
She did great.
So many people are doing great on there. Hey, Tracy Ashley.
Oh, yeah.
She knocked it out of the park, and she was trending. She was trending.
Yes, and last week we talked a bit about it, and as soon as we walked out of here, I was like, fuck, I never even brought her name up because she was on the first episode.
Yeah, she was one of the first couple
Let me say now, congrats, Tracy. That was, we're all very proud.
Yeah.
I hope she goes far in that show.
Yeah.
It helps. I hope it only helps everybody that's on that show. But I guess I'm glad that show's back. I like having comedy on prime time.
I kind of like the new format, too.
I like that it's more honest. I mean, it's like, look, we got 100 people who are already pro. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to, I mean, the whole thing with I understand the appeal of like the waiting in line and everybody's trying it. But the reality is that almost nobody had never really done comedy and then waited in line and was great.
Right.
So this way there's no negative really element to it for the most part. It's just like, oh, these people are all funny. We'll find the funniest stuff.
Yeah. And now
I appreciate that.
It's like you got 100 road warriors. So you really have to raise your game because everyone's like, they've been there, they've done that. So like once you get there, everyone's trying their best. Like right out of the gate, so there's no fucking around. That's what I like about it. Because what was kind of tedious for me was the old seasons when you would have all those long lines. Like, well, you gotta get through all these fucking people, and it was too long for me.
When it invited that kind of Simon Cowell style, like let's watch this train wreck. And I've never liked that.
I don't like
anything.
that.
I don't see what's the point of humiliating
exploitation.
people
I don't
trying
like
to
that
do
on
stuff.
TV. Yeah.
And so like there's no humiliation element
Yeah.
here. It's like the
Yeah.
implication is that everyone's already good.
Everyone's already
There
good.
was a previous season I know where they did a thing where they had them all go, like in the confession booth.
Yeah.
And they had to say who they were funnier than. Do you remember that?
Here's the answer: everyone, every comic thinks they're the funniest person in the room all the time. A confession booth. Is there anything more redundant than a confession booth for a stand-up comic? It's like, last I checked, you stood on stage and just said the exact same shit to 300 people. But go in this little phone booth. It's going to make a huge difference. Yeah.
Wasn't that for the finals too? It's like how they would pick the two people to battle it out and see who got eliminated.
Some sort of, like if
that's messed
the
up.
answers matched up. Like a certain amount of people said they were funnier than one person, and that person was eliminated or some ridiculous.
I'd never seen the show until this year.
You already got a bad psyche, and then if you win the elimination thing, you come back and you're like, well, all these people think they're funnier than me, so now it's like I got to live with you.
Yeah, I remember
they
sent all the comics in. Say you need to say I'm funnier than. And then put one of your co-stars' names in the blank.
I would just say everyone. All the time.
I remember getting pissed.
That's what everyone thinks. I don't actually think that, but for the most part,
you have to.
You kind of
have to.
Yeah, but when you do a festival, and then there's like a contest element. There's 15 people in the back of the room. Even though you're looking around going, there's Lisa and she's really good, and there's John and he's really good. I'm actually narrating people I was anyway. You're thinking like they're all really good, but I'll beat them. I mean, if you don't, and all 15 people have to think that, or what are you doing?
You have
there?
to. What are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you have to go there to win.
If you were there with some Bill Burr or something, you might not be quite so confident, but,
I brought a book along. I'm going to read to you guys. No.
Our bodies ourselves? We're going to teach Lester sex ed.
Chicken soup for the busboys?
Chicken tenders for the busboys.
Your parents called. They wanted us to have this talk with you.
Uh-oh.
Are you ready?
Are they dead?
Not that talk.
Oh, okay.
That's their will.
That's the talk I'm waiting for. When someone breaks the news, I'm like, both of them, huh?
Excuse me. I brought along this book here. The book is called And Here's the Kicker.
Oh, I've read that. That's a great book.
It is a great book.
Yeah.
I really like it. And I actually was going to say, I bet you've read this.
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, so this is part of something that stood out to me. I want to get you guys' opinion on this. This is the chapter. This book is they talk to comedy writers, kind of their history, and just gives their stories. This one is about that was his name, Paul Feig,
who's amazing. Freaks and Geeks. And his books, his Super Stud and Kick Me, are two of the funniest books I've ever read.
Okay, I haven't, so that's a good.
Those books are fantastic. Especially Kick Me is fantastic.
Yes, I've heard. Now, I'm going to get to those for sure. But so he writes in here about comedy writers. I'm just going to read it to you and get your guys' thoughts. It says, I think a lot of comedy writers are ashamed of their younger selves. I think that's why a lot of... we already have reaction here. I think that's why a lot of those people go into humor in the first place. The only thing you have to hide behind is comedy. I'll keep going here. There's a lot of anger there, too. I did stand-up, he says, for 2 years, and a good number of comics I met were extremely angry people. They were not pleasant. That's actually one of the things that drove me out of stand-up. I didn't like going on the road because you never know if you're going to get stuck with a head case or not.
Yeah, I agree with all that.
Yeah.
Agree with all that?
That's accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty accurate.
Completely, huh?
I mean, I think sometimes people there's a lot of comics who are really sweet people, and there's a lot of people who do it because they're like Pete Holmes does comedy because Pete Holmes his parents told him he was the best that there ever was, and Pete and he's just a sunny guy who's got lots of confidence, and he's amazing too. Yeah. But he'll tell you, he's like, no, I really think I'm funny. He's like, I'm gonna do great, he's all, but I'm sure he's got some neuroses, but there's not a ton of angst there. When I worked with him, it was just more of like, I don't know. He doesn't worry that he's not good enough, or he's like, no, I'm funny. I do this because I like it, and I'm a positive person.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to be around Pete for that reason. And there are people like a lot of people like that.
Honestly, I will say that when I get that from someone, from one of the guests here, like if I've assumed that they're just another weirdo comic, which I love, whatever were in people's history, whatever made them who they are, there's nothing bad about anything. It is what it is. Yeah. But when I'm sitting here talking to someone, and then if things are about to go, how do I say this? Going to like a mean-spirited way, and then the guest here will be like, "Oh no, I'm not like that at all." Like people are just like some of the biggest-hearted people have sat across from me on the stage doing this podcast, and I'm just
I think anxiety.
I'm amazed at how big people's hearts some of these comics' hearts are.
Yeah, Kevin Bozeman kind of. I mean, I don't say famously because he doesn't make a big deal about it, but I think it's Bozeman wherever he goes. He always just like finds a homeless guy and gives him a meal and gets him clothes and stuff.
Oh yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of people who do a lot of. Tommy Thompson, he always hassles everybody to save all their little hotel soaps, and he mails them over to Africa, to these like developing countries where they don't have enough soap and all. I mean, there's a lot.
Wow,
of,
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
So people, I mean, I think the thing that a lot of comics have in common is anxiety. But I think that's just like a really modern common condition for one thing. But if I had to name the one sort of malady that seems to be on most people is that they're anxious.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily
I'm
angry.
in that group.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily angry. So, but just like Tim Harmson is an anxious guy, but he's also like one of the most positive human beings I've ever met.
Yeah.
So his
super sweet.
His anxiousness is just like internalized. It's not like I've literally never seen him be mean to anyone. I don't think he can be.
Yeah.
Unless maybe they're playing the Packers.
Well, comedy's a good thing too to get that angst out. You get on stage, you vent a little. I always feel a little better once I get off stage because I got something out, and I release some of that anxiety instead of internalizing it, because that's what I used to do a lot. But with comedy, you can it's very therapeutic in a sense that you can let loose once in a while.
Have people close to you, like mom and dad or anybody, did they notice a change when you started getting up on stage? Do you have any idea?
Not really.
Has anyone said you're an asshole now, or you're just
I've always
now?
been an asshole, kind of.
Probably you're just more confident.
I'm more confident. I'm better in social situations. I used to have really bad social anxiety disorder, and that's pretty much gone now. Thanks to comedy, I can talk to anyone, and it's easier to make friends. So comedy has helped me a lot, man. Yeah. I wouldn't say I hide behind comedy. Comedy is more of like emancipated me as a person, kind of.
I like that.
It feels good. I feel really good with being a comedian, and I love what I do. And I don't hide behind anything. That's kind of part. That's kind of part of my stage act too. Is like I don't hide behind anything.
Yeah, we're both real.
Front Street. We put it on Front Street.
We kind of do. I mean, I don't really. I kind of just talk. I don't have a lot of like secrets. I don't know. I'm not beholden to anybody.
I got nothing to hide.
So it's like whatever. Yeah. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, so I don't. I do hide behind comedy only in awkward social situations. Like, then it's just like, well, I'm just going to keep joking until you go away.
I'm going to vaguely insult you until you take the hint.
That's
you
awesome.
mouth-breathing dully.
My wife got mad at me yesterday because we were at our house got foreclosed on because we were renting and the landlord didn't pay the bank. And so the guys from the bank have been showing up trying to intimidate us, but it's not my problem.
To get you out.
Yeah. So some guy from the bank shows up, and we're moving in the process of it. And some guy from the bank shows up, and I go, oh, there's a guy from the bank. I'm going to go tell him to fuck off. And my wife goes, no, he's going to go away. Just don't answer the door. And I go, but I want to tell someone to fuck off. And she was like,
I got to warm up.
She literally made me stay upstairs. She's like, no, don't go into a confrontation just for fun. I was like, all right. But he's from the bank. He deserves it.
You're like an unruly dog. She kept you upstairs so you wouldn't snap at her.
Yeah, put that leash on.
I really enjoy confrontations in social situations.
Yeah, those are the best.
I really enjoy it. I mean, not like if it was if someone deserves it. If someone's being a dick, my shrink. This whole thing, I was talking to my shrink, and I was telling her about it, and she's like, I'm like, well, if I see somebody being mean to somebody who's helpless or not helpless, but whatever. Someone's trying to be polite, and someone's trying to roll over them. I love letting loose on that person and being like, oh, a bigger dick is here.
Gotta put a cap on it.
So I was telling my shrink about this, and she's like, no, you shouldn't do that. And she goes, it's like you think you're some sort of social avenger. And I was like, yes, I'm the social avenger.
That's your comedy album right there.
And so she was so upset because you could tell right away. She's like, no, I didn't mean this to focus your energy. And I was like, yes, the social avenger.
Social avenger.
Yeah,
a goal and a title.
My one of my best friends, Chris Reimer, is a very funny guy, and I was telling him about it, and he has a similar thing, and he goes, "Can I be your sidekick?" So he's the courtesy kid. So we're just gonna drive around in the Mirthmobile, just right and wrong.
Mirthmobile.
That's awesome.
I really wish I told that guy at the bank to fuck off, though. I'm really...
No, man, it's good. It's good to like put a lid on it and let people know you're not going to let them walk over you because it's good. That's a good way to conduct your life.
Skinny guys who had to watch their ass when they were younger.
I'll
so
fuck someone up if they get in my face.
7-minute workout, man.
Oh man! Oh, that wall sit. I'll sit on your wall.
Now, Brian's a married guy, so this question doesn't go for you. But how are the has being?
If it weren't for comedy, I wouldn't get anything. Like, honest to God,
it gets more tang than Neil Armstrong. That's all I'll say.
It would be tough. I mean, I do pretty all right, especially thanks to this place. I do really like. That's one of them right now, texting me.
Oh, hey.
They're calling me actually.
Oh, his phone is actually ringing right now.
My phone is ringing.
Yeah.
Do you want me to turn it off?
Can you see the name on it? Can you see? Is there a girl's name coming up, Brian?
Turned over.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see it. I'm sure. No.
It's turned over. I was actually talking to she had me on Facebook too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the lady from last
the one
night.
with the boyfriend. Yeah, she's gonna have a boyfriend.
The
for 5 more
the
minutes.
martini tattoo, and I'm like, oh my, oh, you're a whole different kind of, oh yeah.
And she worked at Applebee's, so you could really, Perkins to Applebee's. She's really slumming.
Yeah.
Pancakes to bar and grill, man. Pretty soon you'll be fucking a girl from Chili's, and the sky's the limit.
I'll make my way through all the restaurants. I really want a Golden Corral lady, one that really she's.
I went down on a girl from the Outback. It was the greatest experience of my life.
She tastes like
A1. Fries cost there.
She tasted like A1 and gristle.
You'll work your way past chain restaurants into.
Oh yeah. Well, you don't want to fuck a mom and pop shop. That's weird. Only if Pop's just filming, I guess.
That's right.
No, but it's great, man, and they're usually fans of comedy, so right away you have something to talk about and jump off, and they see you up on stage peacocking, so they already know you got confidence, so they kind of get past that.
Uh-huh.
They kind of get
a feel like a man who takes a chicken tender when he wants it.
Oh yeah,
yeah, right.
That looks like a guy that lives with his mom. Give me some of that.
So do you make them take them back? You have them take you back to their place?
Oh, we just bang anywhere.
Bang anywhere.
I almost took this chick for. You were here, like close to bar close Monday. Mm-hmm. I almost took this chick from her boyfriend.
Ooh,
because she he started talking to Tommy Ryman and completely ignoring her. Like
was he going to take Tommy Ryman from Megan?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Tommy was a little surly, but but no, he had been avoiding her. So I talked to her for like 20 minutes, and it kind of got hot and heavy. Like I was joking. I was like, "Yeah, I'll go back to your place with you and fuck you. I don't care."
You staged a coup.
I did, and
you overthrew their government.
She had me on Facebook too. Boom.
Jeez.
Here's what I get, though. I get a lot of guys who look like me or slightly worse being like, yeah, I feel similar, man. You're totally right, man. You're the best. I don't know why people don't laugh harder, man. I think you're really funny. And I was like, oh, great. Nervous worse me really likes me.
Do you click yes on their friend requests?
I've never... The only person I've ever not accepted on Facebook as a friend is my mom.
Yeah.
It's the only person.
Ditto. But only because I told her in advance we're no family on Facebook.
Yeah. I don't need that kind of hassle.
No, I'm not friends with my mom on there. My sister. I don't even think my dad has one. No. And
my dad's not on Facebook, so it doesn't.
I want to talk a little sports with you guys before we wrap things up here. Did you see what happened this week? The Twins were in Milwaukee playing the Brewers.
No.
And before the 8th inning yesterday, in left field at Miller Park, they have a Fridays. You just brought up maybe you could.
I was going to say Lester's probably sleeping with one of the waitstaff.
They may have a stage there. You could you could do 15 minutes and then clear the table.
Do my Perkins 12 and.
Unlike the Twins, I have a closer. Boom!
Oh shit!
And I don't even watch base. No.
Yesterday before the 8th inning, so they have this Fridays in the left field corner. Someone eating at Fridays fell over the edge and landed in the bullpen.
Maybe they just killed themselves because they realized they were eating at Fridays.
They had that nice mozzarella stick afterburn from Fridays.
So the man fell from the concourse near Fridays 15 feet. And you have another girl calling here.
Did he get hurt? 15 feet's not that far.
No, he was conscious and they had to pull him out of there.
I mean, he was probably the only person conscious in a Milwaukee or a Wisconsin sporting stadium. Like, can he count? No? Good. He's from Wisconsin. He's fine. Send him on his way.
So I want to mention that one to you guys. Also, today, June 4th. Yes, June 4th is the 40-year anniversary of something that happened in baseball in Cleveland.
Oh, is it the greatest baseball story of all time where the guy took acid?
No.
Oh, that's that's the greatest story in all of sports. That's the triumph of the human spirit. Someone should make a movie about that.
It was a pitcher, black pitcher, whose name I can't
remember his name, but it's the greatest story. I love my favorite part of the quote the short version is this dude wakes up and he's like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna do some acid." It's like 3 p.m. Drops a tap of acid and he gets a phone call and they're like, "Where are you? You're starting today." He thought it was Tuesday and it was Wednesday or whatever.
Oh man!
And so he went and he pitched the entire game. And he pitched it was either a perfect game or a no hitter on acid.
Yeah.
And he said, sometimes the ball felt like a giant bowling ball in my tiny hand, but sometimes it felt like a little golf ball in my giant hand. He threw a no-hitter.
Oh, what God.
Oh, man, that is incredible.
So 40 years ago today in Cleveland, they had 10-cent beer night.
Oh, yeah. That went about as well as it.
Yeah. 1974, they had 10-cent beer night. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this. In the 9th inning, a fan attempted to steal Texas outfielder Jeff Burrows' cap.
Nice.
Confronting the fan, Burrows tripped. Texas manager Billy Martin at the time, thinking that Burrows had been attacked, charged onto the field, his players right behind him, some wielding bats. A large number of intoxicated fans, some armed with knives, chains, and portions of stadium seats they had torn apart, surged onto the field, and others hurled bottles from the stands. The bases were pulled up and stolen. Rioters threw a vast array of objects, including cups, rocks, bottles, batteries from radios, hot dogs, popcorn containers, and folding chairs. The umpire chief, he couldn't restore order, so they forfeited the game. He later called the fans uncontrollable beasts and stated he'd never seen anything like that except in a zoo.
Wow.
10-second beer. 10 cent. So here are my questions based on that for you two. Have you ever seen anything similar? I know comedy clubs don't have 10-cent beer nights, but do you have a ridiculous rowdiness story from a comedy club or anything that you've done?
Yeah, I've been. Two people have tried to fight me while I was on stage, or stood up and intended to. One time a club owner got between them. The other time the guy's wife got between them. And I did that. I did. I mean, I feared for my life in Missouri Valley, Iowa. Me and John Conroy did that show, and it was like some bikers from Philly were passing through. It was like this interstate. It turned out to be kind of white supremacist-y-ish. We figured out, and we walked in I walked in the men's room, and just all the fixtures were ripped out of the wall. Everything was just torn apart. And I walked down, and I was like, well, "What happened?" And the owner said, "Oh, my nephew and his friends just got back from Iraq, and them boys love to fight." I was like, "Oh shit!" And we got threatened, and we left. We hauled ass out of the club. And that was actually, I don't know if I've told the story on the podcast, but that was there was a plague of frogs on the town. And so the ground was just boiling with frogs. When I drove in, they were bouncing off my car, and my front of my car was smeared with blood from it. And so we had to run across this field to this motel where we were staying. And you could tell it was like all pickup trucks and my Hyundai Elantra and John's Prius next to each other. So it's like, well, if anyone wants to murder us, they're pretty sure they know where to find us. Yeah. So we had to run across this field, and these frogs, we were just stepping on frogs. They're just everywhere. Just tiny frogs, big frogs. I mean, I've never seen so many. The ground was just seething. And when we got back to the hotel, I opened my door, and the frogs would rush toward the light. So at the end of the night, I just had to open the window and then use my notebook to bail the frogs and throwing frogs out the window.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that was all in one gig.
That's biblical, man.
That is, I know.
That's biblical.
It was Missouri Valley, Iowa. It was the worst place I've ever been in my life. I'd never go back there. There's no amount of money that would get me to go.
How many beers would you drink on 10-cent beer night?
Probably all that I could. 20, maybe. Probably 20. Put $2 away. I don't know.
What about tip? What do you tip on a 10-cent beer?
Well, do you tip the ball guy?
Yeah.
Do you tip beer at the ball?
Yeah.
I don't like baseball, so I never go to the stadium.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm not a big beer drinker either. I like brown liquor. I like whiskey and bourbon. My craziest thing is I went to a green mill with my friend Eric, and we were already pretty drunk. Pat Keene was with us too.
Oh yeah, I love
Patrick
Pat
Keene was with us. He's done
the podcast, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We had ran up a bar tab at Liquor Lyle's of about $100.
Wow,
and it was
so
2 for 1. It was 2 for 1. So we had $100 worth of 2 for 1s basically, and then we make our way over to Green Mill, and I, being the dishwasher I am, stumble into the kitchen. Like, I went into the kitchen because my friend had to puke, so he went into the kitchen first, and he threw up in their sink, like in their sanitizing sink. And I grab a whole thing of silverware, and I said something like, I'm going to roll silverware because I do this at Perkins, and I drop all of the silverware. And then we go out through the double doors. The manager's right there, and I was like, you're going to yell at us now, huh? And he's like, well, and I was like, then go fuck yourself. And so I sat down at this booth and, like, sexually harassed this girl for a little while, and then we had to leave once the cops got there.
They called the cops on you?
Yeah, because we were like, well, we can't get Patrick Keene arrested, so let's just boogie.
Wow.
Let's boogie. Yeah. And then I remember my friend carried me into Earl Elliott's apartment, and Earl Elliott's ex was passed out on the floor, so I kind of passed out by her. And, I slept on the floor, and it was a magical evening.
I was involved in a big stadium brawl when I was a kid. Me and my best friends were really into hockey, and my parents agreed to drive us to St. Louis to see a hockey game, Blues Blackhawks, which is a real intense rivalry. We were really young. My mom was all nervous about leaving us, and they went off to Union Station there at this bar and grill, like having dinner and having a drink and waiting to pick us up. And in the third period, like the entire section we were in erupted into this, like the most. It was every single person but us was fighting, and some people would start to fight. They would like go to fight us, and they'd be like, okay, they're kids. But like I saw one guy hold another guy down and pour beer into his eyes. One lady, this little old usher was like trying to like stop this lady, and she punched him in the nose, and this old guy just rolled down the stairs, and they had to send this whole like squadron of cops, and they're pulling all these people out. And I guess my parents were at the watching the hockey game on the TV, and they're like, oh, I hope they're safe. And they look up, and there's this massive brawl, and they just see me and my two sixth grade friends sitting there in the middle of it, just looking around like, oh, hope we don't die. And then we were the only people left in the section, so then we had this whole section to ourselves for the third period.
I bet, was Mom waiting outside for you when the game was over?
Yes.
Yeah.
She was ready to take us out of there.
Yeah, I bet.
But we weren't leaving until it was over.
Hell no.
That was fun.
Fellas, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else that you should
buddy.
cover?
No. What do you
Come
think,
to Acme.
Scoops?
Come to
Acme.
Come to Acme
all this week.
Come to Acme
House
this week.
of...
No matter what, don't come there. Come to
Don't
Acme.
go there.
Come to
Don't
Acme.
go there.
Don't go
to
there.
Acme.
Don't go there. I didn't
week,
say the full
or
thing.
whatever week you're listening to this. That's what I would say. But come this week. Because Swartzen sold out, but Sean Patton's here this weekend.
Sean Patton is a powerhouse.
He's so funny.
One of my favorites.
Yeah,
Is
and a great
road
dude.
war.
Talk about a guy with crazy stories.
Yeah.
Holy
I know.
smokes. Him and Pat Dixon have the craziest stories of anybody I've ever met.
Yes. If you're listening to this podcast with these two fellas and you haven't listened to the Sean Patton episodes, unbelievably funny. Amazing stories. The first episode he's on is one of the best we've ever done because his stories are
He's nuts. He's
historic,
great.
historically incredible.
Yeah.
And you can see Lester too, I guess.
What I meant to say was come to my house.
Also, Trevor Anderson is going to be here, so that'll give you a nice long time to get a pee and get a beer.
Get your fix with me. Take a break, and then come on in for Sean Patton.
Guys, thank you. Mike, first time wasn't so bad, right?
First time, hopefully of a few more.
I think so.
I'd say we got at least 2 left.
You got at least 2 more in you?
Yeah, thank you so much, buddy.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
I'll go back to moving.
Yes, perfect. One last, if you want to give out your Twitter.
Oh, yeah, I am trying to get more Twitter followers than my niece. So far, so bad. At B Miller Comedy, BMILLER Comedy.
Mine is at Mike Lester Humor. It's a tumor with an H. Boom. Right? Had to sneak that one in there. But yeah, at Mike Lester Humor.
Does that mean he gets the last laugh?
Well, I didn't get one, so I
was
wouldn't count it. Yeah. There it
Let
is.
him get his first one first before he gets the last one. What are you, Nate Abshire? I'm just talking shit about you?
Yeah.
Trevor got caught up in it because I didn't say enough mean stuff about Nate. He caught a stray. Poor Trevor. He's the nicest guy ever.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.